one person. Cora Arizona Shelton, grandmother, great-grandmother, great-great-grandmother of every Hickey here today.
My dad his middle name is Shelton, and I knew it was
C-O-R-A. The old folks pronounced it Corey. There were other names of the time. Sarah, for instance, they pronounced Sari. I wonder if that can be a clue as to where in Western Europe the Hickeys and the Sheltons lived before immigrating to America. Cora Arizona Shelton was born in 1879 and died in 1970 at the age of 91. She was the daughter of Alan Taylor Shelton and Rachel McKee Shelton, who owned a nice big farm on a river, creek, stream, good bottom land that could sustain a lot of crops, and so they were thought of as fairly well off. Now, when Cora was 18, she and Davis Asbury Hickey married. He was just 4 years older than she and was the son of Granville Hickey. Over the course of the next 20-some years, they became parents to several children, our uncles, aunts, mothers, fathers. We're lucky that we can know so much about our ancestors. There are public records of their birth dates, their dates of death, their dates of their marriage and who they married, cemetery records. We can even know where they lived, in what township or county. As Cora approached her 40s, she began to have problems with her pregnancies. There were stillborn twins, a baby named Goldie who only lived a year. The record is unclear, but there were several miscarriages and stillborns. Now, I've just reminded you of how much we can know about our ancestors, but one thing we cannot know is what was in their minds and hearts, the same way we can't know what's in the mind or heart of anyone around us. So, what I'm going to say now is pure conjecture. I believe that Cora could see the handwriting on the wall. She was going to die in childbirth, as so many women of her generation did. And so, when my father was a young boy but could remember the trip, and by the way, what he remembered about it, he told me, was that they almost starved. I hope that was an exaggeration. Cora took her 2 young children and went to Colorado and got a divorce. Now, I don't know if there are any public records about this divorce. I feel to research that now, one would need the exact date and the county in which it occurred, that research is beyond me. Nevertheless, when Corey and her 2 children returned to Miller County, she and Davis and Asbury Hickey never lived together again. Davis moved to Tuscumbia. By all accounts, he was a good citizen, a very likable person, and he was ambitious and hardworking. He was the janitor at the high school in Tuscumbia. In those days, the small towns around Iberia, Bromley, Almond, St. Elizabeth were too small to have high schools. So if one wanted to attend high school, one went to Tuscumbia. My mother and father both graduated from high school there, and that's where they met. I personally remember one time visiting Davis. My parents took me to Tuscumbia. Davis lived in a small house near the Osage River, and he was bedridden. The scene is so clear in my mind because I'd never seen anyone who was bedridden before. I believe this was 1946, the year he died. I treasure a picture I have of Davis Asbury Hickey holding me as a baby. My great-grandfather and yours, Allen Taylor Shelton, died the day I was born, May 31st, 1938. At this time, the farm was equally divided between Corey and her sister. Still, 2 nice farms that could sustain families. Now, if you followed me on my kind of jagged timeline, you will know that we are now into the 1940s. So I'm going to switch gears here and tell you of my personal memories of Mom. Corey always demanded that she be called Mom, not Grandma, Granny, Grandmother. She was Mom to everyone. Today, as you travel down to the farm, just as you turn off the county road to the right, look to the right and see a 1-story clapboard house now in disrepair. This is where almost all of my memories of Mom take place. We would, the Myrna Hickey family, visit her on a Saturday. The middle room of her house was a long, narrow room with a long, narrow dining table. And she would always have a meal ready for us. And oh, could she cook? My mouth waters just thinking of it today. It was probably usually fried chicken, mashed potatoes and gravy, vegetables from her garden. She always had a garden, and yeast rolls and butter. Now, we, the Myrna Hickey family, were never the only ones at her table. When Mabel died, her 3 youngest children, Wayne, Billy, and Anita, went to live with Mom. In the mid-40s, Wayne would not be there because he had joined the Navy. But Billy and Anita were always there. And Omer, who was farming the farm, would always come up for the day. After the meal, and when the adults were cleaning the table, doing the dishes, visiting, might have been the time when I would creep down toward the farm to see if I could see JD's horses. JD had horses, and I loved horses. Along toward evening, we would gather in the front room, which was another long, narrow room closest to the county road. And we would, of all things, watch television. I didn't know such a thing existed. We sat mesmerized as we watched your hit parade with singers with names like Snooky Lanson and also Lucky Strike cigarette commercials. We children would sit very still, never making a sound or saying a word. I think we thought if we did, we would interrupt the performance. On very special occasions, our cousins from way over in Kansas would be visiting Mom also. That would be the Hertz family. Mom's youngest child, Theda, Rip, and their children, Joey and Theda Mary Hertz. Joey, I have the most wonderful picture of 5 happy-looking children, me, my sister Evelyn, baby brother Glenn, you, Joey, and Theda Mary Hertz, sitting in front of our car at Mom's. If I can find that picture when I get home, and I'm pretty sure I can, I will send a copy to you. Later on, Mom and Anita, Billy had now married Carl and gone to live in Memphis. Mom and Anita moved to Iberia. I think this would have been so that Anita could go to her job at the MFA, Missouri Farmers Association. We called it the Exchange. It's where we bought the few groceries that we did buy, and my father worked there also. I visited Mom one last time. I was home visiting my parents who still lived near Iberia, and we sat with Mom and Anita and maybe Anita's daughter and visited in her living room. Now, don't get me wrong. Mom was not the huggy, kissy type. She was a big woman, and she had a big, loud voice. I was a little bit scared of her when I was a young child. But I never heard that voice used in anger, used to complain, or used to gossip. So far as I know, other than that television set, Mom never afforded herself any luxuries. She never took a trip, never went on vacation. She had a car, but I think it was used to go back and forth to the farm. She didn't drive to visit her children. They came to visit her. Now, she might have had a wardrobe, but I'll swear I never saw her that she wasn't wearing a dress that looked exactly like this one. Did she sew dresses from the same pattern? I don't know. Why didn't I ask? Which brings me to this. If there are elders in your family and you have questions, ask those questions. They may not answer, they don't have to, but I doubt they're going to disown you for asking. And now, Chris, I would like to thank you and Bobby and whoever else worked on putting this event together. You are the epitome of what it takes to keep a family together. There's a lot of hard work, physically and mentally, a lot of communication, and a lot of time. I truly thank you. And Bruce, where is Bruce? Oh, Bruce, I thank you for the bottom of my heart for the use of this beautiful cabin. It's so important at a family reunion that people get up, go visit, go say to somebody, "Who are you?" and get reacquainted. And this cabin offers that very thing. Chris has asked if anyone has any pictures of her family, would they please share? She says that her family didn't take many pictures. Well, join the crowd. I think this picture of Mom is the only one in existence. People didn't take many pictures then, but the Hickey family was especially lacking. And Chris, I have to admit that for most of my life, your arm of the family fell beneath my radar. I never knew Mabel. She was 4 years gone by the time I was born. And by the time I could have known Frida, people were dispersing all over the nation. Not many were staying on the farm, and very few were staying, living out their lives in the county in which they were born, as just the generation before them did. So now it's given me so much pleasure to explore and read about your family. Your amazing father, all of your brothers and sisters, and I think I know their names. Chris, Bobby, Sue, Helen, Marty, Mary, and,
Judy.
Judy. Judy was first, wasn't
Yes.
she? Pretty close. And through all of my research, I'm very close to being able to spell Oschlager.
Chris, you want to say something about
And now, Chris, I would like to present you
break in?
and one for Bobby.
Oh my gosh.
We know where he is. He's over there cooking for us. A picture of your grandmother. Bruce, I think this would be a really nice thing
Oh, thank you very much.
to hang on the wall of this cabin.
Yeah, you bet. It would be.
Now let's go to the heads of families. I've addressed Mabel's family. Next comes Logan. I don't know if any, are there any descendants of Logan here today?
I don't
Anyone?
I don't believe so.
Okay. And then Omer. I don't know whether Wanda still lives, but I remember Gladys, who, along with her husband, Lambert Deerhoff, lived and raised their children in St. Louis, came back to Miller County to spend the rest of their lives. And for several years, Gladys either did it herself or in conjunction of someone else planned the family reunion. Are there any descendants of Omer here?
I don't believe so.
Next comes Clay. Any descendants of Clay here? Those boys years ago used to come to the family reunion. Maybe they or their offspring could be enticed to come again. Virgie didn't have children, and that brings me to my family, the Myron Hickey family. I have saved out 5 copies for my siblings, Evelyn, Glenn, Marcella, Mildred, and Paul. And lastly, Theda. I know that Joey's here. Joey, it gives me so much pride to present to you a picture of your grandmother.
Kansas City guy. Thank you.
Now, there's one other person I think deserves a prize. Somebody lives in Alaska and came the farthest to attend this family reunion. That would be Sue. You deserve a prize.
Thank you.
And another person I would love to have a picture of her grandmother is Rhonda Crane Bisco. She helped me a lot with my timeline, and we spurred each other's interest in exploring her father's Navy years.
Thank you. I think I have more pictures of her.
Okay, looks like I have one left. Is there any Hickey descendant here over the age of 86? I was afraid of that. I hope I have given a fair and honest opinion of Mom. In her lifetime, she either gave birth to and or raised at least 13 children. She did so with love and understanding being a very appropriate word, And until the end of her life, she had a grandchild living with her. Now, when we went to visit her, if not with an embrace, she would meet us at her door with that big voice, a big hello, and a big smile. So, Mom, now, here's a hug, whether you want it or not. Thank you, everyone. You're so kind.